Hey folks, welcome to Weekend Technical Analysis Update by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. This Weekend Technical Analysis Update is for Monday, August 17th through Friday, August 21st, 2009. Well, folks, another wild week in Wall Street, culminating on a Friday, really wild day where we saw the markets dump out in a major way to the downside early, consolidate all day, and then buy program central hit late in the day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the markets ripping up to cut the losses basically in half. Tremendous move to the upside late in the day after a tremendous move to the downside early in the day, and you can see it on my charts clear as a bell right here, to the downside, sideways, and then to the upside, right into some resistance at 100.75 on the SPY. Now what you're looking at here is the 10-minute SPY chart, which again mirrors the S&P 500 very accurately, so we can kind of go over the hardcore technicals of the charts. Alright, now a few things I want to discuss today. We want to go over what happened last week, the technical setups, then I want to show you what's going to probably happen next week based off of looking at these charts, letting you know the key levels, and we'll go also over the key data next week that we really need to be on alert for. Alright, just to rehash, the Dow as of Friday was down about 77 points or 0.82%. The Nasdaq was down about 24 points or 1.2%, and the S&P 500 was lower by about 8.5 points or 8.85%. Now the key here is this, guys. The S&P 500, they rescued it again, closing it back above 1,000. They're trying to hold on to that even number 1,000. Psychologically, that is a pretty big number. In addition, the 9,300 on the Dow seems to be a very, very important number for the pundits and those out there that want to keep this market afloat. There's a lot of effort being done right now, whether it's buy programs, whether it's propping up the markets to keep this market above these levels. Otherwise, there's a fear that if they do close below these levels, you will see some massive selling come into the market. Now, just over this weekend, Colonial Bancorp shut down by federal officials, plus a few other banks. I believe a total of 3 banks this weekend have been shut down. That brings the total this year, folks, to 77. Alright, last year, all of last year, 25. In 2007, 3. Think about that. We're just a little over half through this year, 77 already. That's huge, folks. Alright, things are not as good as people let them believe. Now, please be a realist here. You have to understand, earnings were okay this quarter, but it was all because of cost cutting. Revenues predominantly missed on all the big companies. Go check your numbers. Earnings did beat. Market liked that. Most of the market rallied. But if you look closely, you can note that revenues have not beaten estimates, and that's because of cost cutting. Understand that and realize what that means. Okay, let's look at the charts, folks. Again, let's keep an eye on the charts. We're going to go over all the main levels. Here you see the market sold off very, very powerfully. There was a key level here in blue. I'm going to show you this line, the upsloping line. Alright, if you take the low going back to the 12th, which was on Wednesday, connected to the low on Thursday right here, and drag it all the way up to the secondary low on Thursday, you can see that when that broke, that was like a floodgate letting out. You came down on the first candle, down on the second candle, look at the tail, touch that, bounce, and then the third candle of the day broke. That was a very important break psychologically for this market and very important on the technical basis. Down we came hard and continued to sell all the way down till we got to these major levels. 99.75 to 99.80 on the SPY was huge for this market. Can't express that big enough. In addition, you can see these 2 blue lines cutting through on the downsloping level, and I'm going to show you where I got those from. One comes all the way back from last Friday's high. That was the pivot high at 102. Major level right there. What you do is you connect that pivot high to the pivot low right here on the 12th. Down through the 13th, and it comes right into those lows. In addition, a second pivot high can be taken right from the high here on the 10th as well, connect it right through, and drag it right through those same lows, right to the very low on the 13th right here, and it goes right through these lows and connects exactly right through this low here yesterday or on this weekend's Friday's last trading session. Alright, so watch those very closely. Those are big levels. That was telling you this market was hitting monstrous support. If you can pinpoint these levels, as we did in the chat when we talked about the 99.75 levels being a major one and the 99.50 levels being even more important, those levels are very, very important in this market. Alright, sure enough, what happened? The market got light volume. Light volume Friday in August, almost always what you'll see is sideways trading. Sideways trading to upside bias on Fridays and Mondays in the middle of the day because there's just no volume in this market. Market traded sideways. Right by the end, 3:30 comes, buy program hits, market rips higher into the close, coming back to the 100 spot 75 level. That 100 spot 75 level also happens to be the pivot low from last Thursday. All right, see this little pivot right here? Look at that, how it matches up beautifully with that point, right here to here. Very important level come Monday. You got to watch for that level. Do we start to move above it? If we get above it, it opens the floodgates to a possibility of a move back to 101 spot 60. That was a major level, 100 spot 60 last week. Look at this level here. Triple top, 1, 2, 3, and then on Friday we hit it, pierced it, and boom, fell down. So if we do get back up there, you have to watch to see if that breaks. If that level breaks, you're going to 102 even number. That's the ultimate high from a week ago from Friday. All right, that will be the next level. So these are all the key levels you need to watch. The real levels I want you to watch on Monday. If we get above 100 spot 75 on a closing basis, look for 101 spot 60. All right, if we get above that, 102. On the downside, if we fall back down, you're going to watch 100 spot 25. Then ultimately this trend line. See how I've connected the low to all these lows, and you're now creating a beautiful little trend line right here. That trend line, if it breaks, and again, that will be your next support. So if you come back down to 100 spot 25 to 20, you have to watch where this blue line is at that point, and then if you get through that, you're going to hit the blue line. A break of the blue line sends us back to 99.80 to 99.75. A break of that to the even number or the major number of 99.5. That's a huge level on this market, folks. I can't stress it enough. 99.5 is an unbelievable level. Again, very, very important if you get through the 99.75 to 99.80 level on the downside. These are the setups for next week, folks. You need to be watching these so carefully and important. Major, major levels on both sides. Now, all these levels are important, but even more so levels are on the 60-minute chart. All right, here's your 60-minute chart. I want you to watch this very closely. Now, what you saw here, again, a week ago Friday, folks, 102 was hit. We sold off. All right, that was a pivot high we called out. We nailed that pivot high to the Research Center Premium guys. Nailed the high. On 8/7, on August 7th, the pivot high of 102 was called out. Off of that beautiful pullback, where did you go? 99.50 to 99.75. Market rebounded, went up to the 101.60 level. Off of 101.60 level, we collapsed again. Where did we go? 99.75 again. Off of that, we're bouncing up. Now, if you take this, see this pink line right here stretching through the lows? Look at this trend line here. What I do is I'm taking the low from the 31st, July 31st, connecting it to the lows of the 11th, and that low continues right through to the lows of the 14th. Very, very important trend line. Watch for that to break next week. That breaks, you cascade below 99.50 in my opinion, all the way down possibly to 98.50 to 98. That could be a big, big catalyst to more downside if we break that trend line. All right. Right now, what you're doing is you're sitting on the 60-minute right into the 20 moving average and our 100 spot 75 level. As I said, a break of that yields 101 spot 60 resistance. A break of that 102 even number. Those will be your resistances on the top. Support-wise, minor support at 100 spot 50 right here. On a closing basis, that 100 spot 50 is very significant. Intraday, because we pierced it on the 60-minute here, not as big. But nonetheless, on a closing basis, a close below that yields a test of this line right here on the 60-minute. All right, and a break of that yields a test of 99.50. A break of that should yield the 98.50 to 98 levels down here. Those are your major, major levels here on the charts, folks. You got to understand the charts. These are important levels because we're going to be in a pivotal point next week. This market's either going to break 102 to the upside and go higher, or it's going to break the 99.50 and go much, much lower to 98 to 98.50 next week. Watch these levels on your charts that I'm giving you. These are master levels. These take calculations and hours to come up with. These are the levels the hedge funds get, folks. These are the levels that the major fund managers utilize. This is why you see major selling and the market come back to certain levels and recapture certain levels, because these are the master levels. Understand the cycles, understand the pivots. This is the stuff we give out in the Research Center. I only go over the intraday stuff on these weekend videos for free, as our premium subscribers get the daily, weekly, monthly, major levels to pinpoint and really the hardcore stuff. So please understand that. All right, we also go over oil, gold, the dollar, and more. Now, just quickly, guys, next week, the big things next week, PPI coming out on Tuesday. Thursday, you have initial claims, Philly Fed, leading indicators, and Friday, existing home sales. Also, housing starts will be on Tuesday as well. Very, very important. Next week, watch Hewlett-Packard earnings on Tuesday. Take care, folks. Come join the Research Center. Take care. Bye.